Hello, I'm Doug, and this is the Taste and Sensibility channel. And today we're at episode 10 of Chilies and Peppers, which is on Fresno Chiles. So I have a plate of fresh ones here. I have a roasted one that I did a few hours ago. And I have salsa I made with the fresh chili and with the roasted chilies. Also pickled some about a month ago, and I will taste those and let you know what all the flavors are like and how hot these things are, because we are moving up the heat ladder significantly now, and I'm starting to get worried about the end of this and how it'll all turn out. But if you've liked the videos that you've been seeing here, please give this video a thumbs up, leave comments and questions, share it with friends, and subscribe and click on that bell to get notified when the new videos are released, usually on Mondays. So I see these Fresno chilies at Whole Foods all the time, and they're so shiny and red and beautiful. I'm always wanting to buy them. And when I tasted them one time, they were hot. They were hotter than jalapenos. So I withdrew a little bit and studied it a little bit more. And of course, I found a section in Mark Miller's book, The Great Chili Book. And he has Fresno Red listed here on page 41. He says the heat is 6.5 on his 0 to 10 scale, which is a whole unit above jalapenos. But what he's showing here is a chili that's a little bit smaller and a little bit more rounded. All mine have really pointy ends. They are broad at the shoulders, but the tips are pretty pointy. So I'm thinking they might be a different chili. Slightly different variety, different heat level, grows somewhere else, I'm not sure. But these are all rounded and smaller. These are kind of big and pointy. But they are broad at the shoulders as described here. This says they're from Mexico, California, and the Southwest. Usually only available in the fall. And I see these things in Whole Foods year-round. So they're very attractive. I was very curious all the time and bought them once in a while and thought, whoa, that's hotter than I'm used to. But that's what we have today. So I've been tasting these. They are hotter than a jalapeno, and we will just get right into it. So I guess I'll pick one of these to be my taster. But it is very shiny. It's very red. There's little stretch marks, or I'm not sure what those little flaws are, but we will cut right into it and get a section for tasting. So there's a little bit of rib there, but I'm not seeing a bunch of seed material and seed mass. But I don't expect to eat a lot of these range needs, so let's go. It has that green chili, green pepper smell. It's very vegetal, very fresh. And smells just like the green ones, just like a jalapeno, just like a serrano. So there it is. It's red, but it smells green. Oh my gosh. Heat is right up front. Very intense, very cutting. It's all over my tongue. And expanding. So definitely a notch above jalapenos in the heat level. And I'll do one more here before I change my mind about it. It is, there's a fruitiness to it. A sweetness, a fruitiness. Okay, I'm going to wipe my hands off. Try to remember not to touch my face. And that is a nice flavor. You just don't want to eat them whole. Or bite, chew half one down before you realize it's going to be hot. It's good. You could put rings chopped up into a salad, and it would perk it up a little bit without being overwhelming. But just by itself, that is pretty warm. I got a hiccup there. I might wash a little away before I taste the salsa. Whew. Whoa! I need to cool down a little bit. So I agree with the 6.5 heat level, and I don't really know what it is on the Scoville scale. But I know jalapenos go up to maybe 8,000. And the serranos I've been looking at, maybe, so some of them are listed about 23,000. So somewhere in between there, and I agree. Totally. Whew. I'm still cooling off here. So I made my usual salsa from canned tomatoes that are roasted, and roasted my own onions and garlic. And I put in 50 grams of the fresh chili mass, chopped up without the stem, but all the seeds and ribs went in, so all the heat-containing components are there. So I will taste this fresh Fresno chili of dubious background in this fresh salsa here. Wonderful roasted sweetness from the tomato and onion. And yeah, there's some heat that's coming right through. The fruitiness is right there. 50 grams of chilies plus 300 grams of the base, and it is quite enough. It is a medium to hotter than medium salsa. It's a medium plus. So it's good. It's a fruitiness, a sweetness. But I can tell it's in addition to the tomato sweetness. So the flavor is really good. And it doesn't taste quite like that green herbaceous note that I like so much in the green chilies that I got on the nose here when I cut it open. It doesn't taste like that, but it's still a wonderful effect. Fruity, sweet, and then hot. So you can see the pretty bright red specks there. And they show up on the palate, and I'm glad it's diluted quite a bit. Only 1/7 of the mass of this salsa is this red chili. And that is plenty. So a little mouth cleanse here. So some brands of salsa might label this a medium, and some brands might label it hot, because it's moving up there on the scale. So now let's take a look at this roasted guy. Okay, so I've been peeling the skin off this guy while you've been watching that video of the roasting process, and now this does not leave much behind after the roasting. The jalapenos and serranos and poblanos keep their flesh fully succulent and full of moisture. These things get limp, and the moisture is driven off somewhere else. So I've noticed that when dealing with the roasted ones of these Fresnos. They act different, the moisture leaves, and the chili, the peppers do not hold their shapes. And making it harder to cut and more likely to cut myself here. So I got 2 little pieces. There, that'll work. Edit. Okay, now I'm going to try to find a piece here and taste that. Roasted one is still fruity, caramelized, cooked, roasted. It's got that wonderful flavor that I like so much, sometimes called buttery, but the heat is competing with all those wonderful flavors that I like so much. So they're in the background, relatively speaking, because the heat is in the foreground. So you can detect them, they're there, it's fruity, it's caramely, but the heat is kind of takes over early on, and you don't get to taste a lot else after that. So I like the flavor, but the heat's interfering with some of the interesting things I like in the roasted versions. Now the roasted salsa, that's kind of the same vibe. I can tell the tomatoes are roasted. I can tell the onions are roasted and cooked. And I can tell that the chili is roasted and cooked. And there's still a fruitiness to it. I'd say the sweetness is down a notch. But the heat is not down a notch. It is hot stuff. Wow, 50 grams of the roasted chili plus 300 grams of the base, and this is, wouldn't eat this. I wouldn't eat this whole bowl with some chips. Wow. Wow, that's so much higher than a fresh one. That's pretty interesting. Absolutely have to label this as hot on the salsa jar. Whew. Okay, I am done with that. I won't be able to taste anything else. Nope, that's where I stop. So 1/7 of the mass is this roasted chili mass, and it is too strong for me to continue. This is fire. And it's mostly on my tongue, a little bit on my lips, and not really much on the back of my throat. It's not really one of those building heats from the bottom and from the back of the throat. But it's just right on my tongue, roof of my mouth. It's right there from the beginning. So I gotta recover from this before I go on. Wow, I would not have predicted this result in heat level from this result in heat level. But I'm gonna move on to something I started doing recently, which is more pickling. So here I have something that says I pickled on December 7th of 21. Wow. Shortly after I started pickling the Tabascos, which wound up in that pickled chili episode, and I will put the card up there. Let's get this thing open. There we go. And pull something out and give it a try and see if I can still taste anything. Okay, well these look short and small and stubby. That's kind of the shape that's in the book. So maybe, I don't know. One's half pointy and half not pointy. I don't know why I'm pulling out two. So I don't know if I can get through one slice of these things. But there they are. So this is just the liquid that's pickling. The pickling brine is a cup of water, a cup of apple cider vinegar, tablespoon of sugar, tablespoon of salt. So they retain their color. They're very colorful. The chilies are red and the stems are green. I put in a few pickling spices, like you would do for dill pickles, pickled cucumbers. Just to make it a little more interesting. And I guess I'm going to work on this stubby guy. Now, I did some slits in the chili so the brining solution could get through it to the whole thing. And I can smell the apple cider part of the vinegar. It's a little stronger than just regular vinegar. Stronger of a smell, more characteristic of apple cider. Oh, wow, hard to cut. I didn't start at a good point, maybe. Okay, edit. That's for sure. You get these out of the brine and try a few pieces. Okay, these two are hooked together. Here we go. Sweetness that's inherent in the chili. The fruitiness is still there. And I think I can detect the sugar that's in the brining solution also. And the heat's not striking me as nearly as aggressive as the roasted thing right here. These peppers may have been individually more hot than these guys that I pickled were. Definitely from a different crop, from a different year, different batch at Whole Foods. So this is sweeter, fruitier, nicer. So it's the fruitiness of the chili and the fruitiness of the apple cider vinegar, both. And the sweetness of the added sugar. Okay, so that there's heat, but it's nothing like this thing. And there's a few pieces I can go after. So the pickled ones are nice. You could throw these in a salad, put them on a sandwich. And they wouldn't be overwhelming, especially in small pieces like this. So they're tasty, they're fruity, they're good. And definitely have that 6.5 heat level. And not warming up, tasting more and more pieces. It's a good flavor, the modest amount of heat. But I'm going to quit because it's striking me as a building heat in the pickles. So my eyes are watering and I'm barely able to talk. But I think I'm enjoying this more and more every time. So again, like this video, leave comments and questions, concerns about my health and survival, and share it with friends, and subscribe and click on the bell to get notified when the new videos come out. And we're just going to keep going up the heat scale here. And I don't even remember what the next thing's going to be. Oh man. It's going to be a serrano. Those little skinny green things that are hotter than jalapenos. So come back for all that. And, oh, no salsa. Cheers.